Did you know that there are never any confused buyers? The reason is simple. When people are confused, they don't buy. Welcome to episode 41 of the Cheeky Sales Coach. Don't confuse your buyers. I think by now most of us have heard about how too many options can actually be somewhat paralyzing for many people. But at the same time, we all know that if you go to Amazon, you can buy anything. Or if you go to Alibaba, you can buy anything. You need a construction crane 17 stories tall, Alibaba has you covered. So what's the difference between abundance and confusion over too many options? Well, let's take a look at that. Here are 6 or 7 things you need to know about not confusing your buyer. Thing number 1, I already mentioned, there's no such thing as a confused buyer. So when people are confused, they don't buy, and it's important that you internalize that. Be aware that if you confuse people, there's a price to be paid, and it may literally be in dollars that don't show up in your pocket. So make a conscious effort to make sure that your buyers understand what they're buying, why they need to buy it, and why they need to buy it from you. What does that mean? Well, in the real world, it means that you have to have a combination of detailed information, if they choose to consume it, but also really clear descriptions. If you can put something into one sentence or one paragraph, you're more likely to have people actually consume that. And then, if they're interested, give them the full explanation. We already covered some of the things like long sales letters. If people are interested, they will read a 30-page sales letter. If they're not interested, they won't read past the first paragraph. So you have to kind of do both sets of work. But that filtering, we always love our filters, the filtering down of information into the most basic sales points goes a long ways. Because then if people are interested, they can serve themselves up the otherwise overwhelming information. Here's one you might not expect. Thing number 2, increased options also increases expectations. So if you have something where you've got, 42 options, people really expect that they're going to find something amazing. A great example is always menus. When you go to a restaurant and they've got a 20-page menu with whole sections on imported this and that and different kinds of ways that you might prepare food, or fish and chicken and beef and vegan and every other option on earth, you look at it and your first impression is, oh, I'm guarantee I can find something good here. And then you start flipping through and you start comparing everything, and then you're like, I'm not sure I'm in the mood for that, and that sounds good, but I don't really want to get it today, and I'll bet this is better than that, and right? And now you're into the overwhelm. So the important thing that you have to do is to understand that if you have lots of options, you are increasing the buyer's expectations. So you have to be aware that if you have lots of options and the buyer has heightened expectations, you now have to work on making sure that you manage the delivery in such a way that you manage their expectations through the experience. Remember, the peak end rule says that you're more likely to remember the high point of an event or the last thing that happened. So you have to make sure that the experience of buying from you is very smooth. And you have to be aware that you've raised those expectations if you had lots and lots of choices. Following up on number 2 is number 3, you also increase the potential for regret. Lots of expectation leads to lots of potential regret. This is what happens when people convince themselves, oh, here's this big, huge menu. I can choose anything I want. And then some part of their brain starts having a conversation about, will I choose the right thing? Do I normally choose the right thing? Do I always choose the wrong thing? A lot of us have this self-talk going on inside of our heads that doesn't always serve us well. So remember, if you have lots and lots of options, you are building the possibility of regret. Again, managing the experience is huge. You've heard of customer experience, CX. It is all about making sure that you help the buyer avoid the regret. And one really good way to do this is to make that peak as high as possible and as early as possible, and make the end experience as high as possible. So make sure that you keep reinforcing to people, oh, you made a really good choice here, and I think this is going to be just right for you, and aren't you the smartest one in the room? Thing number 4, don't worry, the number of options doesn't have to be too small. So don't think that you have to have 1, 2, or 3 options, even though I kind of feel like 3 options is often the best in a service business. If you have 5 or 10 options and it's still manageable, the client can still make rational choices, that's good. If you give somebody 30 options, that's probably too many, and they are going to have trouble figuring out what they want. 5 options, they should be able to find where they fit pretty easily. 10, depending on your business, might be okay. But just remember, there's a lot of danger as the number of options grow. Sometimes I always wonder, when I think about Amazon, are there products on Amazon that no one has ever bought? I'll bet there are. How many options do you need to have to maximize sales and not leave some things off the table? Now, having said all that, I have traditionally in IT services had 3 tiers and made a point to work really, really hard so nobody ever buys the middle tier. I have priced the middle tier in such a way that people choose the top tier for themselves. Number 5 takes a tiny bit of research, but ask your buyers. Find out how they define themselves. One time I had a client that I had redone my offering, and I went to him and said, hey, we need to sign a new contract. I'm doing this and this and da-da-da-da-da, and here's your gold, silver, and platinum. And he told me, I'm a platinum kind of guy. So unless you tell me that there's a reason to do something else, I'm just going to buy platinum. Now, A, I'm a lucky guy, but B, those people are out there. There are people who say, I'm a cheap person. I will take the lowest price thing. I will barely get by, and then I will pay extra for additional things. You know, I had an experience one time where I normally would sell a computer system that's up here, and it's 100% based on business technology, highest quality, guaranteed to be problem-free for 3 years, just the best that you could find in the market. And then I was talking to somebody who wanted to buy a computer down here, and I said, well, okay, so let's see if we can turn that into a business class machine. Let's add a warranty, let's add some memory, let's add some cache, let's make sure you have a decent hard drive, make sure you have a good graphics card, so forth and so on. And eventually you got the price to be exactly the same as the super expensive thing, except it was all built on home entertainment crappy hardware. There was no way it was going to last 3 years, but it was going to cost just as much. Some people will buy that option because they define themselves as being cheap or as being frugal or whatever. So they want to say that they saved a bunch of money. There's one airline that has this amazing reputation that they're cheaper than everybody else, when in fact, almost every flight that they have is more expensive than their competition. But they've got a bunch of buyers who believe that they're all frugal, got into their system and stopped comparing the prices. So, you know, everybody's got their own shtick for how they sell services. And you've seen it. There are airlines that say, oh, we're the cheapest, cheap, 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 cheap. And then you get there and there's no water. You want water? That's extra. You want a pretzel? That's extra. oh, I'm sorry, legroom is not an option, not for sale at any price. You know, it's basically, to me, as a frequent traveler, it's a horrible experience. But there's other people who say, hey, I saved $100. Like, oh, okay. So you were uncomfortable for 12 hours, but you saved $100. Good for you, right? I'm clearly not the I only buy cheap kind of guy. I don't buy the most expensive available, but generally, if there's 5 or 10 options, I'm a notch down from the most expensive, but I'm not the cheapest by any stretch. So how do you define yourself? How do your prospects and your buyers define themselves? And then figure out where there's a fit between what you want to sell and what you need to charge and what your clients want to buy. Finally, number 6, are you filtering or adding to the confusion? As we have a massive explosion of data and information and news and technology, things seem to be going so crazy. The amount of information in the world keeps doubling and doubling and doubling, and the amount of information that hits your clients and prospects continues to skyrocket. There are 2 ways that you can contribute in the world. You can contribute to the knowledge total, which is to say the confusion, or you can contribute to the filtering, right? Helping your clients filter information is huge. Think about your favorite podcast, your favorite blog, your favorite YouTube channel. And it's probably people who are filtering down the world and helping you find the juicy goodness of whatever your topic is, whether it's a hobby or it's work related. Those who help filter the world are providing a huge service in the 21st century. So help your clients and prospects filter the cacophony into something that they can understand, and you will make money. I hope you make a bunch of that money this week. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, subscribe to the channel, blah, 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 blah. And I will see you next time on the Cheeky Sales Coach. Call to action. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you won't miss a thing.